All right, so today I have a story to share with you, and it's from one of the most loved and revered Sufi mystics, Rumi. We often find his quotes all over the internet and books. But this is a story I came across a while ago, and it stayed with me, and I have gone back over and over and over again to find the nuggets of these treasures that are so skillfully concealed within his metaphors and his words. So the challenge for you today is to see if you can find those clues that are hidden in his story. And along the way, I will share with you what I have found. Okay, so here it goes. The name of this story or poem is Who Do You Marry? And I think it's a really good way of understanding or gauging what are the qualities that you want to look for in someone when you want to engage in a long-term relationship with them, whether that be on a personal level or a professional level. So here it goes. A certain young man was asking around, I'm looking for a wise person that can help me resolve a dilemma. A bystander said, there is no one with greater wisdom in our town except that man over there playing with the children, the one that's riding the stick horse. He has a keen, fiery insight and vast dignity, like the night sky. But he conceals it in the madness of a child's play. The young seeker approached the playful group. Dear father, you who have become as a child, please help me resolve a problem. Go away, the old man said. This is not a day for secrets. I'm going to pause here. Can you decipher any clues that have already been delivered in this short stanza? The young man, all of us, always seeking to resolve a dilemma. The old man with a keen, fiery insight and vast dignity like the night sky. Who is that? Any clues? Any clues? You can type it in. The universe, the universal wisdom that is in and around all of us. And anytime we are in a dilemma, we are seeking to tap it, right? There you go, higher self. And I find there is such a skilled observance that Rumi had over here about this old wise man, but who conceals his wisdom within the madness of a child's play. You know, when Shakespeare said that the whole world is a stage and we are all characters in a play, he wasn't too far off from what Krishna represented or Guru Nanak is espousing. Right? So in this world today, there's a big debate about, is this universe, the higher self, is it a serious and judgmental God, universe, or is it a benevolent and neutral God, right? I mean, there's big philosophical discussions about this. But from my experience, I find that we perceive God, the universe, in reflection to where we are in our consciousness growth, in our own spiritual growth. When somebody's consciousness is still in seed form, right? It's just still concealed within the seed of the protective ego. In that state of our consciousness, we can't see anything beyond our immediate needs and wants and desires and preferences. We don't see a universe We don't see an intelligence greater than ourselves, do we? That's when our consciousness is really just hasn't even sprouted. It hasn't even begun the seedling process. And at some point in our existence, maybe through lifetimes, this seed begins to sprout and we begin to seek something that is greater than ourselves. That's when we begin to even play and experiment with the idea of God or universe or greater intelligence. And sometimes we go back and forth. Sometimes say, yes, it is there. We say it is there. We don't really believe it. We still keep going back to the ego when it's time to get any kind of advice. Anytime we're dealing with a dilemma, we go to the ego. We don't go to the source. But hopefully as we mature, we get serious about figuring this out. So those early stages of our spiritual growth are meant to be, and they need to be, serious. Because we are meant to engage in all kinds of disciplines and regulations for our body, mind, emotions that have been so unregulated under the guidance of the ego. So the early stages of a spiritual growth is always discipline and serious. We create these ideas of morality, right? Structures of morality, structures of self-discipline, and so forth. So when we are in that state of consciousness, and it can go on for years or even lifetimes, we can stay in that state of consciousness. In that state of consciousness, the universe feels very stern. It feels judgmental. It feels like it's watching me constantly. It's judging me for every right and wrong action. And it can't love me because I'm so full of flaws. So you can see this even reflected in the religions when they came about at different stages of our human consciousness. The religions that came out of the Dark Ages, you will see, are more stern. The God that's depicted in those religions is not a benevolent God. It's a judgmental God. But when this seed of our consciousness begins to blossom, it becomes to fully mature. The more mature it becomes, the less we tend to be serious about everything. There's a sort of playfulness that comes into play, if I may say so. Those rigid boundaries begin to soften because we are starting to understand and master the play of existence. But once we get to that blossoming, that maturity of a consciousness, we find that we can take very complex paradoxes and begin to present it in a very simple way. And that is what I think Rumi is so skilled at here. So let me repeat these words to you, what he used. He says, vast dignity, like the night sky, concealed in the madness of child's playfulness. So he's brought all these stages together and revealed that wisdom that has been gained by someone through self-work, yes, that's for us the idea of old man. It takes years and years and years to get to that place. But once it does, you become playful like a child. The young seeker approached the playful group. Dear Father, you who have become as a child, help me resolve my problem. Go away, the old man said. This is not a day for secrets. So anytime we begin to seek the higher guidance, have you noticed that it never just comes to you immediately upon demand? Initially, it'll test you. It'll see how persistent are you in wanting to truly know. Because it understands that this is subtle. So it says, go away. This is not a day for secrets. Go engage your senses in something else. Go see what is luring you in the outside world. But please, ride your horse this way, just for a minute, the young man implored. The wise man play galloped over. Speak quickly. I can't hold this one still for too long. Whoops. Don't let him kick you. This is a wild one. He is, again, so skillfully representing life. He is riding life. That is his play horse. And he says, speak quickly. I can't hold this one still for too long because it's constantly changing. Whoops, don't let him kick you. This is a wild one. I need to get married, the young man said. How do I know who is suitable to be my wife? The old man paused and then said, there are 3 kinds of women in the world. 2 bring grief, and 1 is a treasure to the soul. The first, when you marry her, is all yours. The second is half yours. And the third is not yours at all. Let's breathe. I'm going to repeat these lines again. And please understand, when he says, whom do I marry? This represents both male and females, not just the women. He's really talking about the kind of people, the kind of consciousness that you want to be with. There are 3 kinds of women in the world, the wise man said. 2 bring grief, and 1 is a treasure to the soul. The first, when you marry her, is all yours. The second is half yours. And the third is not yours at all. So who would you pick? If you had a choice, if you are looking for someone in your life, like I said, could be a business partner, it could be a life partner, it could be a friend, who would you connect with? Someone who is all yours? Any takers for all yours? Half yours? Or not yours at all? That's why I like stories like these, because we have to untangle them. We have to really dive deeper instead of just the surface layers of our mind. The old sheikh rode off among the children. The young man shouted behind him, "But I don't understand," he said. "Tell me more about these kinds of women." The old sheikh on his cane horse came galloping closer. Now listen to this. The virgin of your first love is all yours. She will make you feel happy and free. The childless widow is the second. She is half yours. The third, who craves nothing from you, is a married woman with a child. By her first husband, she had a child, and all her love goes into that child. Now watch out, back away. He gave a loud whoop and rode back, calling the children all around him. And that's the end of the story. He said, the virgin of your first love is all yours. She will make you feel happy and free. Do you remember our early years, our first earliest relationships? With that longing to belong to someone was so intense. And we thought that only when we can fully merge in someone, where that other was completely ours, would I feel free? Would I feel happy? We all engaged in that, didn't we? What happened? What did we find out? Another metaphor that's hiding in these lines is the virgin of your first love is also the virgin consciousness that hasn't even fallen in love with the source. It hasn't even consummated its love to itself. Therefore, it's a virgin. And anyone who's in that state of consciousness, if you engage a relationship with them, you will find that they want to give all of themselves to you, because this longing to merge, this longing to belong so deeply and completely is inside of all of us. So until we haven't even experienced that emergence with our source love, that person will want to merge completely with you. They will expect what they would expect from the source. So there's a level of possessiveness and a neediness and codependency that tends to develop in these kinds of loves. But they will be all yours. And when somebody becomes all yours, initially it makes us feel happy, but after a while it starts to get a little bit burdensome, doesn't it? The childless widow is the second, he said. She will be half yours. So notice these words, childless and widow. So widow is someone who had a husband, who had a partner, but that relationship ended, it died. And for most of us who are on a spiritual path, we get married and get widowed, like literally the oscillation of that process is within 24 hours. Every morning we try to engage in that relationship. We want to get married so bad. We want to belong to that source so much. But a widow is someone who's tasted it, but that relationship ended. And she's childless, which means he or she did not create something from their relationship with their partner, with that source. Nothing got created out of it. So there's a numbness that tends to happen in that state of consciousness. And you will find a lot of people think that I need to go rescue somebody like that. So let me be in a relationship with that. Again, a lot of us have gone through the need to rescue someone in that state where they're neither theirs nor do they belong to the source, but there's a numbness in them, and somehow we think we can awaken that love in their heart, and we find that we can't. And because it's childless, nothing has been created within them, nothing has been held from that source, that seed hasn't that blossomed within them. That stoicness, that numbness creates depression. And that depression wants to pull the other with them. And that's why he said, the second one will also bring you grief, not joy. The third, he said, who craves nothing from you, is a married woman with a child. It's married. It is constantly in a love relationship with the source. It is married to the source. It's found its beloved. And not has it only found its beloved, he or she has produced something in this world, has created something in this world out of that love. And because that creation is there, their heart, their soul, and their life force is engaged in that creation, in protecting that creation, in nurturing that creation constantly. Thus the line, by her first husband, she has a child. And all her love goes into that child. So anyone you meet who is in connection with the source to that degree, has a relationship with the source to that degree, and they have created something from their heart, from their passion in this world. It doesn't all have to be spiritual. Everything in creation is the universe's creation, right? So, but you will feel their heart in it. You will feel their passion in it. If you find somebody like that, you will find that they really don't need much from you or anything at all, but they enjoy being with you. Thus he said, the third craves nothing from you because it is receiving everything that it truly needs from its relationship, from its beloved, and that life force that is feeding, nurturing that child, that creation, also feeds them back. They are receiving everything they need. That person will be a treasure to your life. Now watch out, he says, back away, gives a loud whoop and rode back to play back with the children.